welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. I keep thinking we're at the end with this Oliver 550 gasser, but I keep making more videos about it. Today, we are going to get this thing put back together, get a few little odds and sods sorted out on it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I've even got my toes crossed today. We're going to get this thing out of here, get the bush hog on it, and put it through its paces. Let's get to work. First thing we're going to do is get this thing back sitting level so we can put the engine back on it. Let's see. Is that a good guess? Let's find out. Well, that's as close as darn it is to swearing, I'd say. Okay, so we'll leave that sitting there like that. Now I'll get all of this clutter cleared away from here, and we should be able to lift up the front of it and slide it back on. Okay, here we go. We're going to jiggle this thing back into place. It's a little bit crowded in here right now, so I'm trying my best to get it over there. Well, here we go. I think I might have to lift this up a bit. Let's see here. Okay. And then the trick will be getting the shafts aligned and engaged, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, I really need to lift up the front of the tractor to get this because it's kind of like that. So what we're going to do, I can't do that obviously, so I'm going to just take the weight of it with the jack, get that stand out of there, and we'll use our floor jack to adjust the height of the transmission. And then we should be all set. Okay, I think we got it now. Now we got to get it in there kind of straight. And there. Okay, stuff is starting to engage the flywheel. Oh, it's still too high. So lower it down a bit. There we go. God damn it, I had it a second ago. Hang on. So I've got it pretty good now. You can see I've got these bolts in here to act as a guide, not to pull it in, because what we're at now is the point where we got to get the clutch splines to go in and engage. We've got two. See, we've got the actual clutch to engage the pressure or the clutch disc, and we've got the PTO drive we need to engage with the pressure plate. So what we're going to do now is, now that I've got it there, it can't go anywhere. We're going to get the crane out of the picture so I can get in here and work around. We just got to turn the engine a little bit and it'll go right in. After many jiggles and wiggles, we got her together. I never thought, I'm in there grabbing the fan. This thing, all I had to do really was turn on the battery and give the starter a bump, and I bet you that would have provided everything we needed to get the clutch lined up. But it doesn't matter. We're all set. So I'm going to go put all these bolts back in. The 3/8 bolts we're going to torque to 30. These 5/8 bolts we're going to do at 150. And that should be all we need. All our bolts are tightened up now. So now what I'm going to do is this side, for all intent and purpose, is done. I'm just going to go ahead and put the running board back on, and this radius rod. We'll get this side, the external stuff, all buttoned up, and then I'll see you on the other side because we've got to get the clutch pedal back on and all that stuff adjusted. There's this side all back together, and I used hex bolts to put it back together instead of these stove bolts. Number one, because I want the stove bolts for when I restore my 550 diesel. And number two, I'm doing this as a personal favor for whoever is the next person that ever has to take this bloody thing apart. First thing we do on this side is get the push rod for the starter safety switch installed. It just kind of hangs in there. Then we'll grease up this little stub shaft here. This is where our clutch pedal goes. Just like that. And now we can assemble. We've got the eye bolt, our clevis pin. We need a cotter pin for it. And, oh, we need this, but we don't have to put that in right now. And once that's together, we just adjust it up. And then once it touches the stopper there, then we're going to start seeing what we've got for free play. So you can see here the free play. And basically that's the distance that the throw bearing has to travel before it touches the fingers on the clutch. So we want it to be just about like that. So we just keep running this thing up. And eventually we'll get the free play we want. See, a lot less that time. Now your 550, the clutch linkage is probably not going to look like this because this is homemade, this is homemade, but you get the idea. We're almost there. This has got a locking nut on it. If you don't have a locking nut, you could just use a normal nut and a jam nut. There we go. That's pretty good. That's about what we want for free. That's a tongue twister. That's what we want for free play. After we've run it around a little bit, we'll double check it and make sure that we're still good. Now, same as the other side, we'll install the radius rod and the footrest / toolbox on this side. What I'm going to do now is change the fan belt. This one's kind of crappy looking, so we got a new one. And with this alternator swap we did, it just uses the same stock belt. So I just ordered a fan belt for an Oliver 550. And it should be the right one. We'll find out when we get this one out. Straightforward, just like changing any belt. Now the next thing I got to do here, I finally was able to get some proper wheel stoppers for these wheels. So here, I got 3 original ones. Judging by the paint on them, these are Massey Ferguson, but Massey Ferguson used the same ones. So we've got 3 used ones. I could only find 3, and I had to get 1 new one. So we'll go ahead and get these installed. I can see already this one moved, and it's pushing against that. So we're probably going to have to loosen these nuts and knock the disc back around a little bit. But we'll find out once we get this first one in. So we'll get this one tightened up. And then, like I said, we'll probably have to move the wheel to get this one in. Okay, so we gotta loosen these off. Man, I tightened them good, didn't I? Okay. Whacking it doesn't seem to work, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get the jack and take the weight off of it a little bit, then whacking it will work. The other alternative, of course, is to start the tractor up, put it in reverse, let the clutch up a little bit, but it's kind of crowded in here. The other tractor's there. It's just as easy to do it with the jack. Okay, so that worked. We got it moved. So now we can go ahead and install this one. This one comes with a little different bolt. All the other ones got square heads. This one's got a big hex head, but that's okay. We got lots of wrenches. And then it just goes on there like that. Yeah, where's that bolt? There we go. So there is a little bit of space in there. So once I get this tightened up, what I'll do is I'll knock the center back around so that it's touching that, because most of the time you'll be driving forward and it'll be touching against this one. So rather than have it move and hit it like whack, I'll just knock this back around and we'll be good to go. Now we'll go around and tighten these up. And we want to get them so that across them we've got the same kind of amount of the threaded stud showing. That tells us it's, you know, we've got it sort of centered. I don't really know how much it matters, but we like to do a good job here, don't we? Okay, there we are. Now we'll go do the other side. And we got this side done. At least on this side we got lucky. We didn't have to move the center disc. It was still exactly where it needed to be. Now what we're going to do is, I've got an old Ferguson outside that's got a really decent pair of 650/16 front wheels on it. They're kind of too big for a Ferguson, but they're way better than the cracked, messed up old junk that's on this. So we're going to swap them. I'm pretty sure that old Ferguson is just going for parts anyway. So it's no big deal. Yes, those tires look a lot better than the ones we took off. Although I have blasphemed to put Massey Ferguson rims on my Oliver tractor, but I won't tell nobody if you don't. Now we're going to grab the old grease gun and give this thing a good grease job from one end to the other. That's something I have not done with this since it's been here. Grease job is done, and we found this old kind of Oliver-y looking seat cushion, so we threw that on there. It could use a bit of cleaning, but we could give it a scrub later. Anyway, all that's left to do now is get this thing outside and see if it'll do some work. Well, there's the first good sign. The PTO is turned off, and it's actually off. Let's turn it on. And there it goes. So we'll turn it off, and it should stop. All right, it stopped. Good. Let's get the bush hog on this thing. Our fuel gauge wasn't working, and as you can see, we know why. The float is full of gas. So that float is never going to float. That's okay. We've got a new one coming. We'll get that installed when it gets here. In the meantime, what we're going to do is something I've totally forgot to do. We're going to service the sediment bowl. So we've got the fuel supply turned off. We're just going to unscrew this. I should put a bucket under it. So there's not much to this job. Unscrew this. Get the bail out of the way. Now it'll start leaking. There we go. Dump this gas. There's not too much crap in it, but there's enough. See, that's years and years and years of crap accumulating in there. We'll pull the gasket down, make sure the screen is okay, put a new gasket in it, and we'll, you can see here we've got another problem. This bloody valve doesn't close. Not much I can do about that. Oh no, there it stopped. It was just leftovers, dregs probably that were in there. I think we're okay. We'll let it sit for a minute and see if it stops dripping. Let's see if we can get the flash on here. There we are. So we can see our screen is in place and looks decent. Yes, the valve did stop dripping, so we're good there. So we got a new gasket. We'll go ahead, put this back up, tighten up the bail, and we should be in good shape. Okay, it's sort of trying to fill up. It's difficult to get, of course, the air out of this. Once you start the engine up and the fuel level in the carburetor drops and the needle and seat open and stuff gets flowing again, this will fill right up. And at that point, we'll double check that it doesn't leak. Our new fuel sending unit has arrived. The last one I got at Princess Auto. This one, just to be different, I got it from Amazon. It appears to be the same thing, except this one actually comes with the gauge, which, well, we won't be using, but anyway. So what we got to do is we have to get this thing set up. So we got to go measure the depth of the tank, and we'll use this chart to set the two dimensions. Number one is how far from basically the top of the tank to this pivot point. And then the second thing we have to set is the length of the float arm. So we'll take our measurements, get that set up, and I'll be right back. Our tank is 7 inches deep, so here's our 2 dimensions. The float arm will be 4 1/16 long, and the depth will be 3 5/8. And there's our finished product. All right, there it is stuck in there. Let's see the gauge here. Can you see the gauge? Yeah, let's see what happens here. We'll put the ignition on. Look at that. Okay. Good. Fuel gauge works. The access cover for the PTO clutch adjuster was all smashed, so we made a new one. And the one for at the bottom of the bell housing that covers the ring gear, it was just completely missing, so we made a new one of those. Now I just got to crawl underneath and install them. Okay, now it's time to put this thing through its paces. First, we're going to check the hydraulic lift. Up she goes, no problem. Good. Now we're going to set our mower height because we're going to go do some mowing. Oh, that looks pretty level. Okay, let's get out the back. First thing I like about this, I don't have any hands on the steering wheel and it's going straight. We'll get out back and see if we can find anything to bush hog. Here's a good looking bunch of weeds here we can massacre. So first we're going to put the PTO on. And remember, we're looking for that snap on the lever. Snap! There it goes. Now we're going to pull this up. This I don't think is the right tack for this. This engine peaks out around 2,000 RPM, not 2,400 like this says, but that's okay. There we go. All right, let's push hog. See what we can make a mess of here. PTO doesn't slip or lose any speed, that's good. Pull her out. Oh yeah, look at that. Let's go in again. This thing's an animal. Let's turn this off. Back up so we can see what we did. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Okay, back to the shop. There's one of my tenants. Well, there you have it. Seems to work okay. Cutting your grass with a bush hog is, you know, not something you'd normally do. But my grass is so out of control, it kind of qualifies as bush. Well, that'll do it for this one. We put a lot of work into this thing, but in the end, we've got a pretty decent and capable tractor. It's a great old machine, eh? I still like the diesel one, but this one's pretty darn good too. Anyway, another successful project completion under our belt, and I guess we'll move on to something else. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for tuning into the Claremont Classic Garage. I know it's been pretty heavy on tractors lately. I'm going to try to get back to some car stuff, you know. I like doing the car stuff too. And I just always seem to end up doing tractor. Sorry about that. I've only got a small shop. I can only fit in kind of one project at a time. Anyway, I'm going to go now. I'd like to thank you again, if I haven't already, for tuning into the Claremont Classic Garage. I hope you will come back and see us again. And until then, I'm Kevin, saying so long for now.